Alright, y'all ran to Ben 10 vs. Omni-Man Isn't Fair by Tal Earn. You feel me? I was gonna watch it from the bed. I was like, watch what y'all boys. And it looked tough. It looked tough. I seen Ben 10 as Viltrumite on thumbnail. I had to click it. We out.
What if Ben 10 were to
Ben
take
10
on
versus
someone like
Omni-Man.
Omni-Man, one of the strongest characters in Invincible, and of course one of the more iconic
it's like,
versions of the
come on,
evil
bro.
Superman take. You guys love to see these Ben 10
got little
x
Omnitrix on his head.
Invincible related versus battles due to how weirdly similar both universes are to one another. And just taking this premise alone, it already feels like the average Ben 10 episode. Someone known as, of course, Omni-Man / Nolan Grayson, who is a part of the Viltrumite Empire, is sent to Earth with the task of conquering it. But instead, in this case of him, landing in Invincible, he would land in Bellwood, which would then lead into him taking on Ben 10. Now, for this versus battle, I will be using Omniverse Ben, unfortunately.
Wait.
You guys know how I feel about that version of the character.
Wait, why does everybody not fuck with Omniverse? You feel me? As a kid, I ain't gonna lie, I feel like Omniverse was my second favorite. Alien Force was first, you feel me? Like, why do people hate on Omniverse? You feel me? I think the art style, that's what people say. But that shit's so fluid and nice in the storytelling. Y'all comment down below.
And for Omni-Man, I'm mainly using Season 1, but I will be including comic book feats that more than likely will be shown in Season 4. Now, like with my other Ben 10 matchups, I decided to bring up a handful of aliens specifically that can allow Ben to take on Omni-Man, but I actually have something special that you guys are going to have to wait till the end of the video for, so stay tuned for that. Now, before we start listing aliens and how strong they are, let's quickly check out Omni-Man. No, not like that, you weirdo.
You want to put it in
now,
front of me?
I'm just going to say outright, Omni-Man's attack potency and durability range from moon to even planet level. Now, of course, this depends on the version you're using, whether it's the TV show or comic book version, but roughly this is where Nolan should be scaling to. Omni-Man in the show is casually wiping out planets like Flaxen and stopping meteors that were the size of countries. Based on how casually Mark stopped his meteor, we just applied this feat but to the size of the meteor, this would put Omni-Man's attack potency casually at around moon level. We then move on to the comics, where Omni-Man, while helping Mark keep up in this feat, helped Thaddeus destroy planet Viltrum.
Oh yeah, it took three Viltrumites, and I'm pretty sure that gun, that little space ray, if I'm not sure, y'all boys come down below, to destroy a planet. But I feel like Ben has more aliens that can really do that naturally.
Of course, is a planet multiple times larger than Earth. However, we know that they had to hit a specific point in the planet, or else they would have just been splattered instantly. And the planet's core itself was destabilized because of Space Racer hitting it with his gun. So there are things to keep in mind with this feat, but there are also feats such as Tech Jacket in his own comic series, which is canon to the Image comic verse, of him legit throwing large spaceships into the sun pretty casual. And based on the size of the ship and how fast he threw it to the sun itself, roughly the kinetic energy actually comes out to around small planet level. Mind you, this was Tech Jacket in a much weaker suit, and he would go on to get much stronger before then taking on the Viltrumites in the Viltrumite War, where he would be clearly inferior to warriors like Anissa, who Omni-Man is going back and forth with. And I mean, Tech Jacket just kind of makes it clear that he's simply not on their level. It's pretty clear Omni-Man in the comics is significantly more powerful than his show counterpart, but for speed, I would say they're roughly the same here. They just both have the same feat of flying to the bug planet in a week when it's in another galaxy that's roughly 2.5 million light years away. Granted, when Viltrumites are flying through space, they're specifically accelerating at faster speeds than their usual combat and reaction speeds. But we know in the comics, the speed for Viltrumites is pretty much balanced out in all categories. And we have other characters that Nolan was scaled to, such as Invincible and Alan as well, fly faster.
Y'all think is Jerry faster than Viltrumite? I'm pretty sure he goes what's space? What's the speed? Hyperspeed? I don't know. But he goes so fast he just warps damn near.
And reacting to speeding ships in space, which come out to around massively faster than light regardless. But specifically for Omni-Man though, his feat comes out to around over 130 million times the speed of light. And of course, due to him being a Viltrumite, this allows him to have the Hashirama cell equivalent of the Invincible verse, granting him superhuman strength, speed, flight, combat experience, and resistance to things like temperatures and diseases. Omni-Man is in fact an imposing threat, and unlike Mark, he doesn't have to hold back. So it's actually going to be playing out a lot differently than in the last versus battle related to Ben 10. But now that we've gotten a good idea or a better understanding as to how strong Nolan is, let's place him into Bellwood and see what would happen if he were to fight Ben. Now, we'll say Ben just got done defeating Vilgax or something. I don't know. He just got done saving the universe time and time again. You already know how it is. This is a casual Wednesday for Ben. And Nolan, after hearing the defeat of Vilgax and many other warriors that were a threat to the universe, falling to this Ben Tennyson, a hero protecting Earth,
is that Goku in the back?
decide to take matters into his own hands and conquer Earth in the name of Viltrum. Omni-Man would immediately arrive to Bellwood, funnily enough, and this leads into the average Ben 10 episode happening. Now, we'll just include Kevin and Gwen here. I know they're usually not around in Omniverse, but I want
hold on. You know, I always hear about people saying, Ben 10 scanning, Omni-Man and shit coming to Viltrumite. You feel me? That's peak Viltrumite level. He might be peak Viltrumite or stronger than Thrag. I don't know. Thrag is modified. That's what I'm hearing. What if Kevin were to absorb a Viltrumite? Would he be as strong or not?
Include these two because Rook is a bum.
No one ever asked it.
Kevin and Gwen, alongside with Rook, would try and take on Omni-Man initially, and they would just get absolutely bodied here. Now, if Gwen were in her Anodite form, or if Kevin were in his more stronger mutated forms, then they would unironically beat Omni-Man.
But what if Kevin were to absorb Viltrumite DNA?
Ben 10 versus Omni-Man, so just hear me out. I'm gonna play this out like an average Ben 10 episode. Now, this would just be base Kevin and Gwen along with Rook with his
Rook ain't doing shit.
Meaning Omni-Man is much stronger than all three of them.
Rook ain't doing nothing.
Kevin, even despite making his body metal by absorbing the metal of his car, this would lead into Omni-Man just casually ripping Kevin's arm apart and then throwing him into Gwen, which then throws them both into the Mr. Smoothie building, knocking them both out unconscious. Rook here would manage to get a decent shot in before Omni-Man would try and go in for the killing blow, but this would then lead into Ben coming in and saving Rook with Accelerate. Now, Accelerate by Omniverse is very cracked, if I do say so myself.
Fast as hell.
This man has lifted damn Taku stars and harmed them, the same one that was going ban for ban with Way Big. Managed to mog on threats such as Vilgax and should be surpassing things such as the Big Tick, who were threatening the entire planet itself. Ben, as well as a Taku star, casually overpowered lasers that vaporized planets.
But I told you,
at the very worst, Accelerate ridiculously strong. I'm not saying he's scaling to Way Big outright, but he should be scaling to characters like Heat Blast or even Malware, who's able to generate supernova temperatures, which I definitely don't think Nolan is able to handle, especially
can't do that as
what's shown in the comics. But them scaling to Malware, who in weaker versions can destroy galvanic mechamorphs, is specifically impressive, since galvanic mechamorphs in lore can legit pull Galvan B back together, which would be considered a small planetary feat.
Wow, man. Damn.
So we upgrades, nigga. Upgrades. Not even atomics level niggas are doing small planetary feats. Niggas think this is a contest?
I'm not saying Accelerate is legit running through a planet and, you know, it's just gonna straight up blow it up. However, he is probably capable of stopping or destroying the very same meteor that Omni-Man stopped. Accelerate in speed as well at his peak should be above Jet Ray, at least in travel speed, but I will say Jet Ray simply...
I thought Jet Ray is fat. I thought Jet Ray was stated to be Ben's fastest alien. Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't that right? Jet Ray is his fastest alien? I don't know.
Does have feats. But if you do think Accelerate is literally the fastest alien in his roster, including Jet Ray, meaning he scales to Jet Ray's hyperspace feat, or even potentially Big Chill freezing the entire null void, which is stated more than once to be infinite in size. Then unironically, guys, you have a case here to say Accelerate is infinitely faster than Omni-Man, but I'm not going to say that here. I'm going to say at the very least he's bobbing and weaving Nolan's moves, while then throwing a flurry of kicks to try and overwhelm bro. However, he would then try and attempt to swap into a more hard-hitting alien to get the job done, so he would try and go into Humungosaur, only for the watch to then give him Armadillo instead. Now, Armadillo here is still ridiculously strong, and is an alien that I've actually been dying to talk about. With part of his hand, Ben was able to actually send Malgax flying, a dude who was surviving blast from damn atomics. For reference, Vilgax was already harming the likes of Kid Way Big with his claws, and was probably a bigger threat than the Big Tick itself, and he still went on to grow 10 times more powerful when he fought Ben in Season 3. Baseline, this would allow Armadillo to actually overpower Nolan in terms of AP, since he's at the very worst upscaling from a 10 times planetary threat, whereas at best Nolan is a handful of times into planetary. And on top of his attack specifically causing tremors and earthquakes as well, I can actually see Armadillo pulling a Whitebeard here and knolling Nolan into the ground. But by this point, I could
do that. I ain't gonna lie. A lot of Ben's aliens are actually so diverse and cracked. I never really thought about that. You only think about the upper echelon of aliens, you feel me? Atomics, Alien X, Way Big, all of them. But the little niggas like Big Chill, Armadillo, and shit like that, they're really cracked. I didn't know Big Chill froze the entire null void, and that shit's damn near infinite. That's the upscale.
Yeah, boy.
That's a fucking upscale, and I love to see it.
See Nolan just getting frustrated and probably using
not only that, the Diamond Head upscale, guys. Vilgax was 10 times stronger. Diamond Head came back, beat that nigga.
Say the word.
Speed to grab Armadillo and straight up chuck him into space so Ben can die that way. However, at that point, I can just see the Omnitrix at this point bringing in someone like either Atomics or Vampire to catch himself. Tough too. Now, Vampire is someone who unironically can scrap with Malgax and is definitely super underrated in power.
No,
but if Ben specifically goes into Atomics here, I believe Ben is just simply gonna nuke him with Radiation Ki Blast that Nolan has no resistance to. And as he's about to finish him off, or maybe he turns into way big and is, you know, kind of being cocky here, Ben would de-transform funnily enough, leading into Nolan attempting to kill Ben. But of course, not only with the Omnitrix being fast enough to legit react to the Big Bang, but can also save Ben from a multiverse being wiped out from existence, this would mean that the Omnitrix is far faster than anything Nolan has unfortunately shown in the series of Invincible show or comics. And in fact, this would give the Omnitrix plenty of time to transform Ben into a new alien that he managed to unlock after scanning some new data earlier on in the fight. The Omnitrix transforms Ben as we then see him block Nolan's fist with ease, as we then see Ben emerge in his new form. He would then uppercut Nolan into space.
Wait, but how would that scale though? You feel me? Nolan is like 1,000+ years old, and Viltrumites do get stronger as they age, right? And I'm pretty sure the Omnitrix only scales transformations of Ben to his age, relative to his age. So a peak Viltrumite at Ben's age, how would that scale to Omni-Man? Would that really be a threat? Or Thrag also? I don't know, cause Thrag, I don't even know. Y'all boys let me know in the comments section down below how I think that would work.
Then fly up to him, following up with another combo. Ben would probably shout out in excitement his new alien name, which would be Viltrumite. Shout out to whoever came up with this. Seriously, it's absolutely peak. Ben now not only is an alien that can easily replicate Nolan's feats, but even far surpass him. As Nolan attempts to punch him, he feels as if he's punching an even stronger version of Thrag himself, and we already know what happens to Nolan when he attempts to hurt Thrag. He ends up doing more damage to himself unironically, and the case here would be no different. You see, the Omnitrix allows Ben to transform into the prime version of that species. And although Viltrumites can grow in strength for sure, Ben at this point already has Nolan as a baseline, meaning his Viltrumite form would in retrospect be one of his more powerful forms. And this would allow Ben to beat Nolan so badly that he forces him to legit retreat back to Viltrum. And in this timeline, Nolan is going to be pretty much pulling a
Imagine if Thrag came though, and his baseline was Thrag. That would be fucking crazy. Because this thing, ain't he genetically modified to be one of the best Viltrumites?
And reporting back to Thrag, and this of course would allow Ben to now prepare for the impending Viltrumite threat that we will talk about in another video. Now, other aliens that I definitely could have brought up were obviously Ultimate Echo or even Way Big in more depth. However, those aliens are actually some big heavy hitters that I want to save for another video and another time. And remember, I'm using specifically the Omniverse version of Ben, who is very inconsistent with his transformations. So I actually think in retrospect, I went a little realistic here. If anything, I gave Ben the benefit of the doubt here, because I doubt he would transform into Atomics. But even so, him transforming into someone like Crash Hopper or even Gravitak, this unironically wouldn't just allow Ben to automatically
Ain't Gravitak like a black hole?
Weirdly enough, the aliens in Omniverse are scaling to the strong heavy hitters of Ultimate Alien, and a good example of that is when Ben takes on Albedo with his Ultimatrix with his Omnitrix and doesn't perform bad at all. But we will talk about Ben's stronger aliens in another video when the Viltrumite War ensues. Hey guys, Future Ty Learned here. I just wanted to clarify that Omni-Man right now in Season 4 could be a lot stronger actually. Some valuations for the Sun Disk calc actually come out to around large star level. However, I've seen calcs of this ranging from planet 2 star, and if I'm being all honest with you guys, this is probably the strongest thing that we've seen in the show so far. And until Viltrum's planet gets blown up to bits, I don't really think saying Nolan just absolutely upscales from large star level after having consistently planetary feats is really all that fair. But it doesn't even matter, because even if you gave Nolan star level scaling, Way Big still mocks on him.
I'm not trying to hear that. But hey, y'all boys comment down below. What y'all feel like? My nigga Ben Tennyson, Benjamin Kirby Tennyson, really that nigga from the jump. I don't think nobody Invincible can really beat that nigga. All those fails, Alien X. Like, what y'all want to do? But hey, man, y'all like, comment, subscribe if y'all enjoyed the video, man. Appreciate it.